Hello, my fellows. We all have that friend in winter that for some unknown reasons, he just likes the season. And even more weird, this friend goes around like this, in short pants. Anyways, if you are a normal human being, like me, we don't have that superpowers, we are humble and we go through winter knowing that it might be a difficult season. Well, here are some tips on how to go through it together. The reason why I'm making this video is that personally I was affected by the winter blues. And there are some things like the cold wind that we could never find a way to stop. But there are some other things like, for example, winter depression, and that we can really do something about this. I'm from the University of Vienna, and all that I'm going to share with you are scientific studies and also methods that I tried on myself for more than 2 or 3 years. So I know they cannot work for everybody and everybody's made in different ways, but I hope these instruments could really help you at least a bit in going through this thing together. So there are 3 different ways to go through winter depression, and one of them is called vitamin D3. Let's see what it's all about. The vitamin D3 was discovered in 1928, and that's more than 1 century ago. But the reason why we still haven't really discovered all the mechanisms and how much do we really need from it, that's because we produce it only if our skin is in contact with the UV radiations. And as you can imagine, during winter, the amount of sun exposure it's very little and our body is not able to produce enough vitamin D3. But first of all, why is really vitamin D3 important? We have to go back in 1928 when the scientists found out that the dogs that they were kept in cages in the laboratories, they were having problems with the bones. The bones would break very easily, and he wanted to find out if there was any remedies to help these dogs. And after a lot of research and trying different diets, he realized that what the dogs were really missing was the vitamin D3. And that's because they were left in the cages in the laboratories. It was also discovered that the military that would spend a huge amount of time in a submarine, they wouldn't have enough levels of vitamin D3 when they would come back to surface. So it was pretty clear that the sun would have a very huge impact. You're probably asking, what is this all having to do with the winter depression? And here's where I want to connect the dots. Vitamin D3 is not only important for the bones, but it's also important for our immune system. I don't know if you noticed, but in winter we tend to get sick much more often because we're also lacking the sun. And the vitamin D3 is very important for our immune response. And it's the thing that in our brains we have a lot of receptors for the vitamin D3. In the modern definition of depression, in the scientific community, is seen as an imbalance of the biochemistry in the brain. So of course, if it's missing or there are very low dosage of it, of course this could affect our well-being and our brain. On a personal level, I take 1,800 international units of vitamin D3. You're not going to feel the effect immediately. You're just going to notice more the months go by that when other people are feeling low around you, you're actually kind of okay. So you could make these comparisons, and you're also going to realize that when winter starts, you're not going to get that heavily affected as usual by the mood swings, by the depression, and also for your immune system. So this is something that I would really recommend. And I would also ask you to stay tuned and to inform yourself, because the dosage of the vitamin, they always change a lot in the community. It feels like scientists become more and more confident with a higher dosage. I hope this could really help, and see you for the next videos on how to go through winter depression. Yes!